Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are lying to you. All they have done for the past decade is lie to you. So do not trust them. This farce just gets worse. King Charles has to draw a line under it, or I'm warning him that he is going to be humiliated.
Not to mention Meghan's stability as she seizes the opportunity to exploit this newsworthy soap opera.
What do you make of the news that Harry will now not take Meghan and the kids to London as part of his UK return?
I think they all need to grow up. The fact of the matter is that the king has not seen his grandchildren now for many years, and this is a window of opportunity.
Prince Harry's ongoing descent into total madness has continued overnight because he is now accusing Buckingham Palace, wait for it, of sabotage, of wanting to him.
Prince Harry's highly anticipated return to Britain was expected to mark a major turning point, but instead, it has erupted into fresh controversy from the very beginning. Reports now claim that Meghan and the children will no longer be making the trip. At the same time, Harry is once again accusing people within the royal establishment of failing to keep his family safe. New security allegations have reignited an already heated debate over the level of protection he should receive, while additional reports suggest members of the Sussex team were quietly sharing information with selected journalists behind the scenes before the visit even began. Meanwhile, several royal commentators are starting to wonder if this dispute has grown into something much bigger than a disagreement over security alone. But that is only part of what has people talking. Meghan's reported decision regarding the visit has sparked even more speculation. According to multiple reports,
A guy living 8,000 miles away on the coast of California, the west coast of California, who doesn't do any royal duties, and his wannabe Hollywood actress wife, Meghan, you know, they're not good. But why on earth should British taxpayers pay for them? He should give this up. And today, as we're filming this, we learned that he's just spent even more money to get some company, a security firm, to come up with a report to warn the government that if he comes to when he comes to the Invictus Games next year, he could be a target.
Want to make the biggest spectacle of private security to try and make some type of point. That is madness. There is no plot within the British royal family to Prince Harry to try and make him unsafe. The whole reason that the offer to Buckingham Palace was made.
Meghan and the children are now expected to stay in California instead of joining Harry in London. Harry will still travel to the United Kingdom on his own, while his wife and children remain behind in California. The explanations surrounding that decision have only fueled even more questions, and the full picture is far more complicated than it first appeared. So, stay with me, because there is much more to uncover. This was never how the visit was expected to unfold. For a short time, it seemed as though King Charles might finally have the opportunity for the family reunion many believed had been years in the making. Yet those expectations quickly disappeared as reports suggested the travel plans were beginning to fall apart. According to multiple reports, the problem was not linked to travel arrangements or scheduling issues. Once again, attention turned to security. Harry has consistently argued that he cannot confidently bring Meghan and the children back to Britain without stronger protection measures in place, transforming what could have been a private family visit
Was to try and keep him safe. Seriously, this is so concerning. I think the offer should be withdrawn. I think Harry needs to seek help, and I actually don't believe that this trip is good for anyone now. These so-called new Megxit rules, which has now been described as Megxin, is not going to catch on by presenting the monarch with some of her shitty jam to try and get publicity. Honestly, this is a farce. I am totally sick of it. There is a very simple way that this could be done that deals with Harry's paranoia. Get on a plane, don't tell the paps, get in a helicopter, don't tell the paps, fly to a remote estate, don't tell the paps, privately go about your business, and don't tell the paps or the media where you are, what you are going, or what you are doing. No one would know or care. And that is the
Simple.
point, Tash. If you have a big issue with your security, you don't release operational notes. Taylor Swift doesn't release operational notes announcing to every single person in the media where she's going to be.
Into another chapter of an ongoing public dispute that continues to divide opinion. But does that explanation really hold up? When you begin connecting the reports, the timing, and everything that has unfolded, the situation starts to look far less straightforward. To many observers, it feels less like an unavoidable problem and more like a carefully planned performance, with every move adding to what appears to be a deliberately staged spectacle. The controversy becomes even more complicated once you look at who actually controls royal security decisions. Despite what many people assume, those arrangements are not made by King Charles himself. Protection is handled through official government procedures, meaning the monarch cannot simply intervene and grant the level of security Harry has been seeking.
Every plan starts with the worst case scenario. He assumes someone is watching, someone is listening, or someone knows where he is. It's been described as a hyperstate of vigilance.
The increasingly unhinged Harry believes that his father's courtiers want him. Not for the first time, he has voiced his paranoid conspiracy theory that the British establishment is plotting to have him taken out.
But at the same time, you have people saying Harry says he wants to reconcile with his father. In the same interview where he is literally accusing his father, and I watched a clip the other day to refresh my memory, and, you know, Harry was saying that my father needs to get out of the way. My father needs to let people do their job. My father is responsible for stopping the...
No matter how much public pressure surrounds the issue. Even so, Harry has continued to suggest that his father bears much of the responsibility, and that is where the situation becomes even more controversial. What originally appeared to be a conversation about a possible family reunion has now grown into a very public dispute involving legal battles, official security reviews, media reports, and deepening tensions between Harry and the institution he once represented so prominently. And Meghan, she has rarely returned to Britain in recent years, while multiple reports have repeatedly claimed she remains hesitant to place herself back under the intense media attention that would almost certainly follow another high-profile royal appearance. Some commentators have questioned whether that hesitation reflects discomfort after years of publicly criticizing the royal family. Others believe there may be entirely different reasons behind the decision. Or could it all be part of a much larger strategy? We will also take a closer look at Meghan's reported public relations plans surrounding the palace visit.
assessment, in so many words, from being carried out. And then also in the same interview, he says there are people inside the royal fold that want me to get hurt. They want me and my wife and my children to get hurt.
Repeating this fantastical nonsense has only served to amplify suggestions that His Majesty's second son has gone stark staring mad.
And why those reported plans immediately caught the attention of royal commentators and sparked even more debate across the media. Critics have also raised another important question. If the intention was truly to arrange a quiet and private family reunion, why were details of the proposed visit appearing in news reports long before any meeting had actually taken place? To them, the early publicity seemed difficult to reconcile with claims that privacy was the main objective, adding another layer for speculation to an already heated story. For years, Prince Harry has insisted that one issue stands above everything else. Not money, not royal titles, not status within the monarchy, security. But over the past several weeks, that long-running dispute has grown into something far bigger than many expected. What first began as a disagreement over police protection has now developed into a much wider public conflict involving Buckingham Palace, court filings, private security assessments, and allegations that individuals connected to the royal establishment have been working against him behind the scenes. The timing could hardly be more difficult. With public attention already fixed on Harry's return, every new report, every fresh allegation, and every conflicting claim only adds more pressure, ensuring that what was expected to be a straightforward visit is instead unfolding under an even brighter spotlight than anyone anticipated. Another dramatic twist soon caught the attention of royal watchers and pushed the controversy to an entirely different level. According to reports, Harry came to believe that individuals within the palace system were overlooking serious security concerns and allowing circumstances to develop that could leave his family exposed to potential risks. It was an extraordinary claim, one that shifted the argument far beyond questions about protection alone. What had started as a dispute over security arrangements quickly evolved into a much deeper conflict involving trust, loyalty, accountability, and the role the royal institution should play in safeguarding members of the family. According to reports, Harry believed the real issue was that details surrounding the accommodation offer had become public knowledge. Once media outlets began reporting that Buckingham Palace could potentially serve as a residence during the visit, he reportedly feared photographers would begin watching every entrance and exit, increasing the likelihood that Meghan and the children would be photographed if they travelled to Britain. It does sound ironic, doesn't it? Meghan has spent years carefully building a very public profile, and some commentators have argued that photographs from such a visit could just as easily strengthen public interest rather than damage it. Even so, those reported concerns did not fade away. Instead, they grew into something much larger and became another major point of disagreement. Harry reportedly became convinced that information about the proposed arrangements had not reached the media by accident. Instead, he believed that certain individuals connected to the royal establishment had allowed those details to reach the press intentionally, raising even more questions about who could have benefited from the reports becoming public. So now the palace is being blamed. That is where the story takes another unexpected turn. Documents connected to Harry's legal challenge appeared to present a far more complicated picture than many initially expected. Court disclosures reportedly suggested that some members of the royal household had previously spoken in support of Harry regarding his security concerns. Rather than trying to undermine him, certain officials were said to have backed efforts aimed at helping him secure appropriate protection arrangements. That unexpected detail only made the entire dispute even more difficult to understand and left many observers wondering how such different versions of events could exist at the same time. If some palace figures had genuinely attempted to assist Harry, then why does he continue to place responsibility on the palace today? Is this simply his interpretation of what happened, or is there another explanation behind the ongoing disagreement? Those questions became even louder after Harry's widely discussed interview following his latest court defeat. While speaking about security, reconciliation, and the future of his relationship with the royal family, Harry suggested that there were individuals within the royal system who did not want him, Meghan, and their children to receive adequate protection, a claim that immediately reignited debate and intensified the already growing controversy surrounding his return. Even without directly naming his father, Harry's remarks left many people believing the message was unmistakable. The suggestion seemed to be that someone within the royal establishment was preventing the situation from being resolved, adding yet another layer of tension to an already complicated dispute. Critics were quick to highlight what they viewed as a significant contradiction. On one hand, Harry spoke about wanting to repair family relationships and move toward a reconciliation. On the other, he continued expressing concerns about individuals connected to the monarchy and the role they allegedly played in the ongoing security disagreement. Those two positions immediately became the focus of intense public discussion. For many observers, those messages appeared difficult to reconcile. Reports surrounding Harry's concerns about palace-related security issues also sparked broader conversations about his overall outlook and whether his level of caution had become increasingly intense after years of public scrutiny. Descriptions of Harry's reported daily security routine painted the picture of someone living with an extraordinary level of vigilance and constant awareness. According to multiple reports, hotel rooms were reportedly inspected before he entered them. Phone numbers were changed on a regular basis. His travel plans were allegedly shared with only a very small group of trusted aides, and in certain situations, Decoy vehicles were reportedly used during journeys to reduce the possibility of being followed by photographers or other observers. Individually, none of those precautions would be considered unusual for a globally recognized public figure. However, when viewed together, they fueled an ongoing debate about whether Harry's security decisions had gradually become driven more by persistent fear than by objective risk assessments alone. That discussion only intensified after details from Harry's privately commissioned security report became public. Critics quickly noted that the assessment had reportedly not been prepared by British intelligence agencies or law enforcement authorities. Instead, it came from Harry's own private security company, prompting fresh debate over how much weight and credibility the report should be given during the wider public discussion. At the same time, another point continued to resurface. Harry has attended major public events across the United States, appeared before thousands of people, traveled internationally, and maintained a busy schedule of high-profile appearances. Because of that, some critics questioned why the greatest security concerns always seemed to emerge whenever Britain became part of the conversation. Some argued that Harry's concerns over security had grown into something that influenced nearly every major decision surrounding his public life, leading many to wonder whether those fears had become increasingly all-consuming. Some commentators went even further with their reactions, publicly suggesting that Harry appeared to be carrying an overwhelming level of anxiety, and that stepping back from the public spotlight for a period of time might help prevent the situation from becoming even more difficult. Then another report introduced an entirely new twist that immediately attracted widespread attention. Veteran royal correspondent Richard Eden revealed claims that a private WhatsApp group created by the Sussex communications team had allegedly been used to share detailed operational information about Harry and Meghan's planned visit to the United Kingdom with selected journalists before the trip had even started. That report quickly raised eyebrows because only a few days earlier, Harry had argued that publicity surrounding his family's travel plans created unnecessary security risks and increased potential dangers during visits to Britain. Yet, according to those same reports, members of the Sussex communications operation had themselves allegedly been distributing detailed information about the proposed visit to members of the media ahead of time. That apparent contradiction immediately became another major talking point among royal commentators and sparked fresh debate across newspapers and television discussions. Around that same period, additional reports surfaced regarding a private security assessment that allegedly identified multiple threats connected to Harry's visits to Britain. Harry has consistently argued that the risks associated with his position did not disappear after stepping back from royal duties. In his view, those concerns may have become even greater over time. His military service in Afghanistan, his international profile, and many years of intense media attention have all been cited as reasons why he believes enhanced security remains necessary whenever he returns to Britain. However, critics continue to view the situation through a very different lens. They point out that British authorities have repeatedly reviewed the available intelligence and, on multiple occasions, arrived at the same overall conclusion. According to those assessments, Harry has not been denied protection altogether. Instead, officials continue to examine each visit individually, deciding what level of security is appropriate based on the specific circumstances, available intelligence, and the nature of each planned engagement. That distinction has become one of the central issues in the entire dispute. The debate is no longer simply about whether Harry should receive protection. Instead, it centers on his request for a permanent level of armed security that is typically reserved for the most senior working members of the royal family, making this one of the most closely watched and controversial aspects of the ongoing disagreement. That is exactly where the entire debate reaches another critical turning point, and the controversy grows even more intense. Critics argue that if the level of danger is truly as serious as Harry has described, then one important question still has not been fully answered. Why has the Sussex family continued traveling to other countries around the world without raising the same level of public concern over security arrangements? That question surfaced again and again after Harry and Meghan made several high-profile international trips, including visits involving large crowds, public appearances, extensive media coverage, and demanding travel schedules. Each new journey immediately reignited discussion about whether Britain was truly a unique security concern, or whether the wider issue was something much more complicated. With every new trip, every public appearance, and every fresh security report, the same debate continues to return. Is Harry confronting an extraordinary level of risk, or is he seeking an extraordinary level of protection that officials believe is no longer appropriate under the current arrangements? The controversy became even larger when reports claimed that a separate private security assessment had identified several possible threat scenarios connected to Harry's visits. From that point forward, two very different narratives began taking shape. One side viewed Harry as a prince determined to protect his wife and children from dangers they believed officials were not taking seriously enough. The other side viewed the situation very differently. Critics argued that the dispute reflected a long-running effort to regain privileges and security arrangements that changed after Harry stepped away from his role as a senior working royal. Those competing interpretations have continued to shape almost every discussion surrounding the issue, and somewhere between those opposing viewpoints sits the central question that still remains unanswered. If the danger is truly as severe as Harry believes, why have British authorities repeatedly declined to restore the level of protection he continues to request? At the same time, if government officials are confident in their own security assessments, then why does Harry remain so convinced that the threat is much greater than they are prepared to acknowledge? That disagreement has become one of the defining features of the entire dispute and continues to divide public opinion. But according to Harry, the biggest obstacle was never simply the threat itself. Instead, he has suggested that the real issue was the people he believed were preventing meaningful action from being taken to address those concerns, making the disagreement even more personal than many initially realized. Perhaps the most puzzling part of the entire saga is that all of this unfolded while Harry was also speaking publicly about reconciliation. During interviews, he discussed repairing family relationships and finding a path forward with the royal family. Yet those appeals for peace arrived alongside fresh security disagreements, renewed allegations, and growing suspicion directed toward individuals connected to the royal establishment. For many observers, those two messages seemed difficult to reconcile. Calls for rebuilding trust appeared to clash with continued public criticism, leaving many wondering how meaningful progress could realistically be achieved while tensions remained so high on both sides. How could genuine reconciliation take place when confidence between the two sides appeared weaker than ever? What makes the story even more remarkable is that reports suggested there may already have been a possible solution available. According to those reports, Harry had the opportunity to stay at a royal residence protected by existing security measures, an option that only added another layer of debate to an already deeply divided and closely watched controversy. At first glance, the proposed arrangement appeared as though it could have created a practical path toward a family reunion while also addressing at least some of the concerns surrounding security and safety. Instead of easing tensions, however, the proposal reportedly became yet another point of disagreement in an already complicated situation. While Harry's ongoing security dispute continued dominating headlines, another story was quietly beginning to resurface in the background. According to multiple royal reports, tensions between Meghan and the palace had never been limited to disagreements over security, royal titles, or family relationships alone. Long before the latest controversy unfolded, there were already reported concerns within royal circles about how the Sussexes preferred to manage their public image and communicate with the media. Some insiders even claimed those differences had started much earlier than many people realized. According to those accounts, disagreements over image, messaging, and public perception had been quietly developing for years before they eventually became the subject of widespread public discussion. But perhaps the most striking contradiction in the entire story centered on Meghan herself. Throughout Harry's security battle, one of his main arguments remained consistent. He repeatedly claimed that private details about the family's travel plans had become public. According to his position, that publicity itself created additional security concerns. The more information people had about where the family might stay or when they planned to arrive, the greater the potential risks became. Harry continued maintaining that excessive publicity placed his family in greater danger. Yet according to reports, detailed operational information about the visit was allegedly being circulated to selected journalists through members of the Sussex communications operation. At nearly the same time, additional reports suggested Meghan had plans of her own surrounding the proposed visit. According to multiple royal reports, Meghan was reportedly considering bringing gifts from her lifestyle brand, as ever, for King Charles. Sources claimed she believed homemade products, including preserves and other items connected to the brand, could serve as a thoughtful peace offering while also helping rebuild strained family relationships after years of public tension. But the timing immediately prompted fresh questions. At the very same moment, Harry was arguing that widespread publicity surrounding the family's movements could increase security risks. Meghan's lifestyle brand was becoming more visible through carefully planned promotional content and a series of new product launches. Royal commentators quickly began debating whether the reported gesture was intended solely as a personal expression of goodwill or whether it also carried a clear public relations benefit. That discussion only added another layer of intrigue, leaving many people wondering whether the proposed gifts represented genuine reconciliation, careful image management, or perhaps a combination of both. Was it simply a thoughtful gift for the king? Or was it also an opportunity to connect the As Ever brand with the royal family in a positive way? That question immediately divided royal watchers, and opinions remain sharply split. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, because this is one of the biggest talking points surrounding the entire story. While Harry's reported strategy appeared to focus on privacy, security, and limiting public exposure, Meghan's public image seemed to be moving in a very different direction. New products, new social media posts, new promotional campaigns. Two very different approaches unfolding at exactly the same time, leading many commentators to question whether the couple were truly on the same page. According to multiple reports, Harry genuinely believed that bringing Archie and Lilibet back to Britain would influence the overall security assessment. Sources claimed he assumed that once the children became part of the visit and King Charles offered accommodation inside a royal residence, enhanced police protection would naturally follow. But that reportedly never happened. The official position remained unchanged. Throughout the dispute, one issue kept resurfacing. Harry appeared convinced that his father could somehow influence the outcome. Yet under Britain's system, security decisions are handled through government processes rather than by the monarch personally. That distinction became one of the biggest points of disagreement throughout the entire controversy. Every new development brought the same unanswered question back into focus. Did Harry lose trust in the palace, or did the palace lose trust in Harry? It remains a question that continues to divide royal commentators. Perhaps the biggest contradiction was Harry's repeated call for reconciliation. He spoke about repairing family relationships and moving forward, yet almost every public appearance seemed to introduce another disagreement or fresh allegation involving the royal institution. Meanwhile, preparations for the next Invictus Games continued. Instead of headlines focusing on the competitors and the event's mission, attention once again shifted towards security disputes, legal battles, and continuing royal tensions. Only time will tell whether this chapter leads to reconciliation or whether it becomes another setback in the relationship between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think this has always been about security, or is there a much bigger story behind everything that's happened? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest royal updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.